The sugar high lie number 10, the sugar high myth. Most parents believe that feeding their children sugar transforms them into little whirlwinds of chaos, but that belief is flat out incorrect. Researchers put this to the test. They gave one group of kids real sugar and another a substitute, and neither children nor parents were told who received which. The outcome? Absolutely nothing notable. The sugared kids were no more energetic than the others, but when parents assumed their child had consumed sugar, they immediately began perceiving them as hyper, watching intensely for any hint of wild behavior. The child hops once, blame the sugar. The child giggles, must be a sugar rush. This belief traces back to the 1970s, when a physician claimed food additives caused hyperactivity. A child bouncing around at a birthday party has more to do with the excitement of the event than the cake they ate. They're enthusiastic, socializing with friends, possibly running low on sleep. Those same kids would behave just as wildly if the cake had been sugar-free. Your brain isn't slacking off. Number 9, your brain is working harder than you think. The claim that humans only use 10% of their brains is about as accurate as saying fish only occupy 10% of the ocean. This myth became so mainstream it inspired Hollywood films, the kind where a character swallows a miracle pill and becomes a superhuman genius. In reality, your brain operates at full capacity every single moment. Advanced imaging shows consistent activation throughout the entire brain, all the time. Even during sleep, it regulates your breathing, keeps your heart beating, and cycles through your most cringe-worthy memories. Though it's just 2% of your body weight, it consumes 20% of your energy, like a small space heater that devours your entire electricity bill. If 90% were genuinely inactive, evolution would have phased it out. Even minor brain injuries trigger significant consequences. The myth likely originated with a Harvard researcher in the 1800s who suggested people weren't reaching their full potential. And somewhere along the way, someone twisted that into the idea that we only use 1/10 of our brains. Pennies from heaven won't kill you. Number 8. A dropped penny won't punch through your skull. The claim that a penny tossed off the Empire State Building could fatally pierce someone's head simply isn't true. Gravity accelerates it, but air resistance pushes back. The penny tumbles erratically and reaches terminal velocity after about 50 feet, a modest 25 miles per hour, slower than a typical cyclist. Being struck would feel more like a sharp flick than anything life-threatening. Drop it in a vacuum and it would exceed 200 mph. But here on Earth, you'd actually be at greater risk from a dropped ballpoint pen, aerodynamic enough to behave like a miniature dart. Lightning's repeat offender status number 7. Lightning strikes the same place more than once. The Empire State Building alone is struck approximately 25 times each year. Park Ranger Roy Sullivan was struck 7 separate times throughout his life, earning the nickname the Human Lightning Rod, surviving every single one. By the 4th strike, his colleagues kept their distance whenever storms rolled in. Tall structures are struck repeatedly, since height makes them natural targets. Lightning can also touch down miles from the storm, bolts from the blue that appear out of an otherwise clear sky. You could be standing in sunshine and still be struck without warning. Vikings left their horns at home. Number 6. Vikings never wore horned helmets. The iconic image was invented by theatrical costume designers in the 1800s, crafting outfits for opera productions, accidentally sparking one of history's most enduring inaccuracies. Heading into battle with horns gives your enemy 2 convenient handles and risks snagging on tree branches. Real Viking helmets were simple, functional pieces, sometimes with a nose guard. Horned helmets were found in Denmark, but they predate the Viking era by 3,000 years and were ceremonial objects, not battle gear. Those opera designers came across them and decided they were perfect for their Viking characters. And just like that, millions were left believing Vikings charged into battle with horns strapped to their heads. Your razor isn't making you hairier. Number 5. Shaving doesn't make your hair grow back thicker or darker. When you shave, you give each strand a blunt, flat-topped trim, like cutting a tree trunk with a chainsaw. The stump feels rougher than a naturally tapered branch tip. Regrowth feels coarser because of that flat edge, not because anything actually changed. Researchers have confirmed shaving has zero impact on thickness, color, or growth rate. Those are determined by genetics. If shaving caused thicker regrowth, every balding man would shave his scalp constantly, and we'd have solved baldness with shaving cream. Yet Jeff Bezos, with virtually unlimited resources, remains bald. Same hair, just a flat cut instead of a tapered tip. Swim whenever you want, mostly. Number 4. You don't need to wait 30 minutes after eating to swim. The warning that swimming soon after a meal causes dangerous cramps has no scientific support whatsoever. Not a single documented drowning has been caused by swimming after eating. The idea was that digestion diverts blood to the stomach, leaving limbs cramping, but the body handles both simultaneously with ease. You might get a mild cramp swimming vigorously on a full stomach, similar to running after eating, but it isn't dangerous. The American Red Cross confirmed this poses no genuine risk, and competitive swimmers eat during training sessions. That said, skipping the full pizza before an intense swim is still probably wise. Your head isn't a heat chimney. Number 3. Your head doesn't lose a disproportionate amount of body heat. The claim that half your heat escapes through your head is completely made up. The myth came from a military survival manual, but the test was conducted on people in full winter clothing with only their heads exposed. Naturally, heat escaped through the one uncovered area. Your head is roughly 10% of your body's surface area, so it accounts for about 10% of heat loss, not 40 or 50%. Heat escapes proportionally from whatever skin is exposed. The exception is infants, whose heads are proportionally much larger. For grown adults, bare arms cost you just as much warmth as a bare head. Goldfish. Memory. Number 2. Goldfish do not have a 3-second memory. Scientists placed them in mazes. They navigated successfully and retained the solution months later. Goldfish can recognize individual human faces, learn to swim through hoops, push tiny balls, and distinguish between pieces of music. All of this with a brain no bigger than a pea. Scientists believe studying goldfish brain function could offer valuable insights into how human memory works. Gum doesn't stick around for years. Number 1. Swallowed gum does not linger in your stomach for 7 years. When you swallow gum, it travels through your digestive tract like any other food. Your body can't break it down, but it passes through, like corn kernels. Gum typically exits within 1 to 2 days and doesn't adhere to your stomach walls. Unless someone swallows enormous quantities regularly, there's no real risk. Humans have chewed various substances for thousands of years. Ancient Greeks chewed tree resin, the Maya chewed chicle, and none suffered from accumulated buildup. Gum won't cling to your insides, but it will absolutely stick to a sidewalk for years. That's a wrap. Subscribe to catch more videos like this when they drop.